So thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to talk on how to survive the holidays. And the hardest thing for most people is surviving the holiday food. I'm guilty of it myself. So yeah, we wanted to talk to you guys a bit on, some options for picking some healthier options, but also if you do indulge a little bit, not to feel so guilty, but just really trying to be proactive too about just different little things that you can incorporate to make things easier during this time. Because really, it really starts in October. Um, I don't celebrate Halloween, but I know a lot of people um, get very well, a lot of temptation happens starting around Halloween with all the candy and all the sweets that start popping up everywhere. So you start there, and then the next month we have Thanksgiving, and then the next month we have Christmas. But the problem is like it's not how would I put it? It's not confined to just those days specifically. It's all the time leading up. So you have about 2 solid months, 2.5 months of just crazy eating that your body is not used to. So I don't want to get too deep into that part of it because we're gonna have a guest speaker on in just a little bit and I really like a lot of what she has to say about this topic. A lot of you guys know her. Her name is Kate Wharton. Um, we think of her as Chef Kate Wharton because she's an incredible cook. And she's very knowledgeable on food and also raw food and juicing, all of it, all of the above. She makes incredible food. Some of you may have had the pleasure of experiencing her cooking classes we used to have at our location in Torrance, and it was absolutely incredible. So yeah, I just want to talk a little bit on food, and this is something that I, again, I struggle with too, but there's an interesting topic in this book that my father would often quote from, Own Your Own Body, and it's on food combining. So, I know some of you probably heard about, you shouldn't eat this food with that food and that food with this food. And for some people, it's a little bit more obvious because their digestive tract can't handle certain foods combining together, but really, it really applies to everybody. Um, so I wanted to read just like a little excerpt from the book because it'll bring some light to why, like, oh, why is it when I eat this food or this fruit or this vegetable, I get really bad bloating, or I don't feel so good, or I feel really full, or whatever it is. Um, I think it'll shed some light as to why that happens, especially again during these times of the holiday season where there is a lot of food combining. For like myself, for instance, I really can't eat fruit with any cooked food. It severely bothers my stomach. I mean, it's just not a good mixture, especially something like melons. I can't eat with food. And I see some people that do it and I'm just like jealous, but I realize now and then reading this book, I'm like, oh, that's why I really shouldn't be combining those things. So this part right here, I just want to share just a little snippet of food combining, and why it's so important to know. So high acid, let's see, because of the marvelous intricate digestive process, it is better to watch food combinations of food at any one meal. High acid and low acid foods, for instance, should not be combined, nor should fruits and vegetables. Protein foods can be combined with vegetables. Starches can be combined with vegetables to produce a fair balance. Fruits should be eaten alone, not combined with either starches or protein. Melons should not be ingested with any other foods, including fruits, for melons contain special enzymic actions which other foods inhibit. So I thought that was very fascinating. Some good combinations would be protein and leafy vegetables, starch and vegetables, oily foods and vegetables. Poor combinations would be protein and acidic fruits like, orange, lemon, even pineapple, to name a few. Leafy, so let's see. Poor combinations would be protein and acidic fruits, leafy vegetables and acidic fruits, leafy greens and subacidic fruits. And also poor combinations would be protein and starch, oil and starch, fruits and starch, and some other combinations in which the acid alkaline balance is opposite in the extreme. The imbalances inhibit the digestive process, and enzymes produced by the pancreas are unable to handle the various extreme combinations. And then he just goes on to say, it's not as complicated as it sounds. It involves some basic rules about it. But the main thing is to remember we must simplify. And if we simplify the number of foods served per meal and cut down on our food intake, the principle of food combination becomes easy. And he goes on to talk about greens and why just incorporating greens into your diet all the time is so important for gut health. But again, I'm gonna talk a lot about food today because that is the topic of discussion today, feasting, surviving the holiday feasting. But I do want to bring in our guest. I was noticing, I think the name showed up differently today. Okay, I'm gonna ask to unmute you. Miss Kate, are you ready to come in? I'm gonna unmute you. Um,
Hi,
okay, perfect. There
I'm
you
there. Yay.
Perfect. Okay, I'm
I
gonna
I had
pin.
a few technical difficulties getting on also. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. And okay, I think I pinned us right where they can see the two of us
Okay.
only in the video. All these technical issues. Anyways, yes, Miss Kate Wharton, she has been part of the Common Sense family, I guess you could say, for, has it been like, oh, it's over 20 years, right?
Yeah. hmm
Almost.
I don't I don't know how far over 20, but it's way over 20 years.
Yeah. Because me and
Yeah.
her oldest son, I think are about a year apart, if I'm right.
Huh? Yes.
Um, yeah, so I'm 30, but yeah, she has a very interesting story, how she came to know Common Sense products. Um, and her kids were homeschooled, like I was homeschooled too. Okay, again, I should know this, but I was very young. Did we meet through homeschooling first or through the office, through Common
No,
Sense?
through schooling first, and then when I found out your parents were herbalists, because I came from a nursing background. So when I found out your parents were herbalists and Jordan, my son, had really bad asthma for 7 years. And then, so I was talking to your mom, and she said, you know, come in the office and let's see what we can do for you. And so I said, why not? Because, I had been working with his pediatrician, from the time he was born, because he was diagnosed with asthma when he was about 8 months old, I think. And so I was working with his pediatrician for 7 years, and he wasn't getting any better, you know, and it was causing me problems at work because I had to leave all the time. Um, if he was at the sitter, because they were really afraid of giving him the medications and the inhaler and all that. So they would call me a lot, and I would have to leave my job, you
Mhm.
know, and go see about him. And so when I met your parents, I said, yeah, let's give it a shot and see.
What
And
happened?
see. Yeah. And so the first thing your dad asked me when I, came to consult with them was, are you giving him milk? What are you feeding him?
Mm,
And at that time he wouldn't barely eat. but he ate a lot of yogurt. That was the only thing, one of the only things that he would eat was, yogurt, and it was dairy. And, of course, we were doing the cow's milk because I didn't know any better. Coming from a nursing background, they
Yeah.
didn't teach us much nutrition at all or how nutrition affects the body, what you eat, how it affects the body. So I didn't know about that. The doctors that I worked with didn't know about that. Apparently, his pediatrician didn't know because she never, inquired about his diet or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
dad said right away, get him off of, all dairy, and then he gave me a regimen of herbs to do.
Mm-hmm.
And within, I would say like within a month or so, he was much better. He wasn't constantly throwing up, trying to his body was trying to throw up the mucus because he was full of mucus, you know, and it was from the dairy, it was really from the
Mm-hmm.
dairy. And so I became fascinated, with the way food, because I was amazed that, he didn't give him any medication. He had been on medication off and on for years anyway, but how your dad just gave him some herbs, which are natural. And then, he told me a few things about the diet. And, the pediatrician hadn't done that in the 7 years. And, it just took a month and my son was better. So I was amazed. And that's what really got me on track about being interested in food and how food affects our bodies.
I love that. I love it. One of the things he suggested was Mullen, right? Mullen
Yes.
was one of them to help with the
Yeah,
mucus.
it was Mullen and Super Lax.
So
And
that's-
I think it was just those two because at that time, my son was only 7 years old.
yeah, that's
Yeah. So I
yeah.
think it was Mullen and Superlax. I don't remember anything else, but those were the two main ones. Yeah. It
Clean
was
up the mucus,
crazy.
clean up the mucus and clean up the colon.
Yeah. And then stop the mucus by stopping the dairy, because
Yeah.
that's what was, producing. I was even telling someone the other day, like even when I was pregnant with him, you know, I didn't know any better. What's the typical uh, pregnant woman's diet? It's the same standard American diet, and they
Yeah.
tell you to drink more milk because you're building bones, the baby's building bones and this and that, so drink a lot of milk. And so that's exactly what I did. That's what I did. And when he was born, uh he was born, he wasn't breathing. He
Mm,
turned
mm.
purple. In
Oh,
fact, he
no.
turned purple, and the nurses ran off with him. They took him to the neonatal ICU, which is the ICU for newborn babies. They
Yeah.
took him there to revive him. And so, I didn't get a chance to hold him or see him or anything. I just saw the nurses whiz him away, and I could see that he was purple, so I knew he wasn't breathing.
Mm,
And yeah, so my husband and I were just praying, praying, and then the nurses came back later and told us that he wasn't breathing and they had to revive him. But now when I look back on it, I can tell, I know, what happened. That was because I was taking in a lot of dairy,
mm.
because that's what I thought at the time I was supposed to do. So I
Yeah.
was taking in a lot of dairy and it transferred over to his little body. Yeah. So he was full
Naturally.
of it and he wasn't able to breathe well. And then when he was like 8 months old, then it was really coming out as asthma. And
Mm,
he wasn't breathing well, he was crying. And so we took him to the emergency, and that's when they diagnosed him only at 8 months old. And they put him on steroid medication,
mm,
prednisone, which I didn't agree with at the time because I knew what that medication was. And so
mhm,
I questioned the doctor, like, why are you giving him that? That's a really strong medication for, a baby, for an infant. And she just said, well, you want him to breathe, don't you? And I said,
mm,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I had no choice. I just did, what she told me to do. And, they gave him the medication, but he didn't get any better from that point. He was on that off and on with that medication for 7 years. And um, he had the inhaler and some other things, and then all the side effects that came with those medications.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a journey. And so I was so grateful, when I met, your parents and common sense, herbs.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
it changed our family's whole life and got me on a different track, from the
Hmm.
medical side. Yeah.
And all that you've been doing for the past, I mean, you've been doing the herbs for since that period, but like with food and with just healthier eating and then more raw and then the juicing, it's been like quite a few years. Like, has it been 10 years just about, would you
Yeah,
say?
it's been 10 years since I
Yeah.
changed my diet. Well, right away when your dad told us that, we did change a few little things, in our family because we were all having like issues, health issues,
Yeah.
but we really didn't like notice them. I mean, we noticed them, but we were just living with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I started little by little, I started changing, the food and what we were eating at home and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
me personally, I've been on a plant-based lifestyle for almost 10 years. In January, it'll be 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Long time. Well, and that's why we have you on today, because she's going to give us some guidance on how to help us these holiday seasons.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, we talked a little bit earlier today on it as well for
Hmm.
another interview that we had, and it was really good. A lot of really good tips. So I'll kind of let you start off with your tips, and we'll just go back and forth.
Well,
And
I like what you were saying earlier about, starting with Halloween,
mm,
from October all the way through January, all the different holidays, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas has its own season,
mm,
um, and then New Year, all of that combined together, all those months, of festivities and parties and,
yeah,
us eating food that we don't normally eat, Um,
exactly.
and that all combined together, one thing I notice is that during those months also, they call it the cold and flu season.
Hmm.
And, people are coming up with the sneezing, the coughing, the runny nose, and all that. But, you know, it's also the body's way of getting rid of all the stuff that we've been eating, throughout these holiday seasons, because like I said, we're normally not eating those foods, that
Oh,
we eat. Yeah. And especially, it's not what you do once in a while, but it's what you do every day that promotes health and become good habits and things like that. But,
exactly.
like maybe once in a while I'll have, a cookie, a vegan cookie or something, every once in a while. But I'm not doing that every day, so it doesn't really affect my body.
Mm,
But, from October through January, we're eating cookies and cakes and candies and all those kind of things for months.
yes.
And the body will soon start to get rid of it some kind of way,
Mm,
and a lot of those things are not even in the category of real food, they're
true.
not food. And so the body will not recognize it and will want to get rid of it. And it's coming out through mucus in the body, the coughing, the sneezing, the runny nose,
Yeah,
all those different things. Yeah.
it's true. Yep. Your
Mhm.
skin, people
Yeah.
start breaking out, people having skin issues.
Exactly, because with my son too, with the asthma, he also had eczema. He had a
Mm,
lot of things on his skin, at such, being a baby, he
mm,
still had all that stuff on his skin.
mm,
But when, we stopped consuming dairy, his skin cleared up,
mm.
So,
It's amazing.
because
Food.
dairy is for the baby cow.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
That baby cow.
Yeah. It's for the baby cow, and that milk is so high in protein and other things that it's meant to grow the baby cow, up to I think 1,000 pounds or something like that in just the first year.
Yeah.
So, it's not for human consumption.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
My dad would say the molecular structure of the milk is it's hard for us to digest.
right,
People
exactly.
have problems digesting
Exactly. I think like
dairy.
up to 75% of the population cannot really digest, cow's milk.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's because it's for the baby cow, and a large amount of that population is, African American and I think Latino. Yeah. And I
Yes,
think even Asian has a high, rate of
not being able to.
lactose intolerance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, and then all the added everything that's added to, especially in America, everything that the hormones, the additives, preserve
Yes.
chemicals.
Yes, yes, yes. Because they try to make the cow perpetually pregnant so she can produce milk. So they're continually giving, the female cow hormones and different things like that. And that stuff is going into the milk that you're drinking. Yeah.
Our
So,
system. Yeah. So we gotta be aware, guys. We gotta be aware of what we're
yeah.
putting intaking. And it's tough. I get it. It's tough because, we're kind of like slaves to our taste buds.
Yeah.
But also too, it's a matter of also our emotions too. Like stress is a big one, right?
Hmm.
We'll go to food, comfort food. I mean, they say a lot more so for women. I mean, stress or even when you're happy or you're sad, we tend to just go to food. It's like this like
Yeah.
dirty blanket, this comfort. But it's like not to say you can't eat anything good or that tastes good. I mean, but there's a lot of things you can substitute that
Mhm.
are healthy and still taste great.
Right.
So that's the beauty of it. I know earlier you're talking to about like ways before you go to an event, some things we can do to help us with not overindulging in sweet
Yeah.
things or whatever it may be. That's your weakness.
Yeah, sure. I will give you and your audience a few tips that have helped me, during the holidays. Um, and like you were saying before, your taste buds do change. The healthier you eat, your taste buds will begin to change, because when I first started, I didn't really like certain vegetables, that much like
Mhm.
kale. I had never had kale before, I started eating healthy, but now I love it. It's one of my favorites,
Nice, nice.
Yeah, and to think that, in a restaurant they just put it on the plate as a garnish, and
Yeah.
everybody just throws it away, but I love kale now. So my taste buds have adjusted and, it's I don't crave kale, but I really like it a lot,
Yeah, yeah.
And so the more you eat these things, that's what your body will want. Because I always say you are what you eat, So if you continue to eat a lot of kale, then you'll want to eat more
Yeah,
kale, you
that's true.
know? Yeah, yeah,
Body wants what we give it, right?
yeah. So surviving the holidays, I would say tip number one would be to start eating healthier right now, before the holidays kick off or, before you start going to all the holiday parties and things, start incorporating more healthy foods into your diet right now, like fruits and vegetables. Like,
Mm.
in the mornings, instead of having pancakes for breakfast, have fruit, or I know Danielle, you're a big proponent like me of smoothies, having smoothies in the morning for
Yes.
breakfast. You know, it's just it's not something that's too hard to do, you know?
Mm.
So fruit is very good, very cleansing. It's I call it the original fast food because it's easy to take with you,
Mhm.
on the job in the morning. And I'm when you're having it for breakfast, I'm not just talking about one apple, you know. Have an apple, a banana, maybe two apples and a banana,
Yeah.
whatever fills you up. Um, you can incorporate green smoothies also, in the morning or eat more salads or have, more soups, vegetable soups and things like that. If you're a burger person, for lunch, instead of eating burgers and fries for lunch, have the burger with a salad, a large salad on the side.
Yes.
Some people can do it overnight, but some people start, slowly, a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so whatever you can do to start eating healthy now, those little changes will help you, during the holidays.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I know you're good at making smoothies in the morning. Yeah, I heard you. You and I have a similar routine because I have like a tea or herbal tea or something like that in the
Hmm.
morning, or
Yes.
I'll have lemon or lime ginger tea, I call it. It's just warm
Yeah.
water with sliced ginger in there, and I squeeze a whole lime in. You can add some kind of sweetener if you want, but I'm so used to just drinking it like that, because the first thing we should all be doing in the morning is hydrate ourselves because you've been sleeping for 8 hours and you've
Hmm.
been fasting. You haven't had any food or any water, and so the first thing you should do is rehydrate your body. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because when I worked at the hospital, you know, as soon as anyone was admitted, the first thing we did, regardless of what they were being admitted for, we would start an intravenous, an IV.
Hmm.
Why? To hydrate the person, because majority of people are chronically dehydrated,
It's true.
Yes, chronically dehydrated. Um,
Yeah.
so hydration is very important, especially first thing in the morning,
Hmm.
because when you drink your tea or you drink a warm glass of lemon water or lime water, by the time you finish that right away, you're off to the restroom. You're
Yeah.
off to the
It's true.
restroom.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
true. Yeah.
Even when you have fruit for breakfast,
Yep.
by the time you finish eating whatever that fruit is, you're off to the restroom.
Hmm.
And if you're eating like that throughout the day, like that's usually what I know this is TMI, but that's usually what arouses me in the morning because I have to go to the restroom.
Hmm.
So, it's hydration is very, very important because we're like, I think 75% water, something like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
And so that's
Yeah.
the first thing we should be doing in the morning. Things like coffee, dehydrate us, and especially it's easy to see in the skin,
Yeah.
in the lips, around the mouth. So,
Yeah.
yes, incorporate more water. Start that now.
Number
Yeah.
one, yes, water, water, water. I'm like that. In the morning, it's like I usually have water by my bed because usually in the evening too,
Mhm.
I'm taking quite a bit of my herbs. But so I still have water left over. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I need my water. Like I just feel like I need it, and
Yes.
helps me to just feel a little more alive. Because sometimes I'll feel like kind of heavy in my eyelids too, and
Yes.
I'll just kind of
Mhm.
like sometimes it's kind of strange. I think it's too in the air, the quality of the air, especially lately here in LA.
Mhm.
I just wake up, my eyes will be burning and just feeling just not good. And that's not a usual thing for me. So I'm like trying to drink more water because I know I need to like flush whatever I was breathing into, and that gets into your head. So yeah, I'm water's like I try to drink like a big I have my I use mason jars for my
Yes, so do
water.
I.
I have a
So do
big
I.
so I'm
Yes.
drinking like that in the morning. And then yeah, sometimes I'll have my tea, and then for sure my green smoothie. And
Well,
then
I count tea as water also because especially if you don't put sugar in
sugar in it. Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that can count as your hydration also.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one thing that's even better, because you mentioned the whole thing about me juicing, one thing that's even
Mhm.
better than water is drinking the liquid from your fruits and your vegetables.
Yeah.
So that's what juicing is. You're still getting all the nutrients, in the liquid, the nutrients, the vitamins and minerals in the liquid. And that's when you compare it to water, I'm not saying water is bad at all.
Yeah,
We
yeah, yeah.
we need it, but when you compare it to just plain water, there's not a whole lot in plain water, but the liquid from your fruits and vegetables
Yeah.
has all the nutrients in it.
Mm.
So juicing, fresh cold pressed juice is another good one, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And then like you were talking about, you were saying something, was it about melons or something?
Oh, earlier, yeah, and that in the book talks about eating melons on their own. Yeah.
Yes, yes. You
Yeah.
should be eating it on its own because melons are usually like 93% water, you know,
Hmm.
93% water. So that's one thing I love having, for breakfast is melon because it's like I'm eating my water,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. So melons are very good and they should be eaten on their own because there's so much water content in it. They digest very, very quickly,
Yeah.
very quickly. So you should not mix it with, like if you're eating, I don't know, pancakes, you should not
Yeah.
have a melon along with your pancakes. So
Yeah. I agree
yeah.
with that.
Yeah,
Correct
because
me.
it'll just cause the other food to ferment in your stomach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And correct me if I'm wrong too, because I say this like we probably would drink or need to drink a lot less water if we were eating the fruits that have that natural filtered water and all the nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that it comes with because it goes, and it's going through our digestive tract. It's helping to hydrate our colon, which our colon
Right.
is
Yeah.
extremely dehydrated.
Yes.
Like if we were eating more fruits, we
Yes.
wouldn't need to drink nearly as many as this recommended amount of water is put out
Right.
there. Yeah.
Right, because you would be eating your water,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally recommend eating. That's why I recommend eating fruit for breakfast because it's mostly water. I mean, the water-rich fruits, not necessarily banana, because, banana has less water, but things like melons, grapes,
Mm.
berries, things like that, the really juicy fruits, oranges, and things like that. Those are very good in the morning,
Yeah.
for you. They're good for elimination, good for digestion. And also, since we're talking about hydration, uh, try to stay away from the processed foods because they're full of salt, sugar, and oil. And the salt, eating a lot of salty foods, you would think it would make you thirsty. Yes, it does make you thirsty, but it's also absorbing, you know,
Water in.
water, yeah, in our bodies. So,
That makes sense.
yes. So
Yeah.
those are things you can do right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
before we jump into the holidays
Yeah.
to, like get a jump start on eating healthy. And then number two, I would say, is to eat in season. Eat
Mm.
in season. I talk about that every month at the beginning of the month, because seasons, there's seasons for different foods to grow. Like in summer, there was a lot of watermelon around because that's what was growing. Watermelon grows in the summer. And, like God knew what he was doing. We needed a lot of water because it's hot during the summer. So
Mm.
we need a lot of water-rich foods, and watermelon is one of the best. Watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew melon, all of those are, like I said, around 93% water. So
Mm.
right now we're in November and you should not be seeing watermelon in the stores. And
Mm.
if you do, they're bringing them from probably some other country or somewhere else,
Yeah.
and they're going to charge you more for them
Mm.
because they have to ship them far from somewhere else. And they're not going to taste good because this is not the season to grow them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really less expensive to eat in season.
Mm.
Um, your food will taste better, and if you're eating ripe fruit that is in season, then it's going to contain all the nutrients that it should have. Because if I find a watermelon in the store right now, it's not going to taste good,
Hmm.
and it's not going to have the normal nutrients that watermelon should have in it because
Yeah.
it's out of season. Yeah.
I agree.
Um, so I remember not too long ago, my husband brought home some mandarin oranges, and when I was peeling it, I saw that it said that it was from Peru.
Hmm.
And I was wondering why in the world would we,
Hmm.
get mandarins from Peru when we could probably grow them ourselves here in California. So one thing I do is I go to my local farmers market every week,
Mm. Yeah.
and get produce from there. Because if you buy local, from the farmers in your area, the food is close by, so it's going to be less expensive. than a grocery store because most of the food in the grocery store is shipped from other places, like those mandarins came all the way from Peru.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so a farmer's market is where we should be shopping. And then, we still have to get some things from the grocery store.
Hmm.
But for our produce, for our fruits and veggies, try to get as much as, we can from the local farmer's market.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. And things that are try to eat things that are in season now, like pumpkins, apples, squash, pomegranates, those type of things. Oranges, those are what are grapefruits. Those are things that are in season now. So that's what we should be eating, more of.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yes, yes, yes.
I was gonna say too, I know you have a few more tips there. I was gonna say
Mhm.
too, with like all the holiday events you're gonna go to and everything like that, it's like one thing that like even for me, at home, and for my mom too, we're always like we don't keep certain things in your house. Don't
Right.
have certain, it was kind of funny the other day. My niece came over, um, and it was with my sister and her husband, and they're like, "Where are your snacks at? You have any snacks?" And you were like, "I'm like, no, actually, we don't really have snacks because it's like if you have snacks in your house, especially like, sugary snacks or even salty snacks, whatever it is that they're not healthy snacks. If it's
Mhm.
in your house, you're going to reach for it. So you really want to keep it out of your house. It's bad enough when you go to an event and you have to deal with that, but when you have it in your home, I don't care how strong you are,
Mm.
9 times out of 10, when you're really just wanting, craving that something, you're gonna go for it.
You're gonna eat it. Yeah. What I always say is if it's in your house, it's in your mouth.
I like that. I like that. It's true.
Because it's a hundred
Mm.
percent true. When you're
Yeah.
hungry, when you're hangry,
When you're
you're gonna,
angry.
yeah, you're gonna eat whatever you can
Hmm.
find,
Hmm.
And that's one reason why I don't have this tip on there, but it just came to me. That's one reason why, wherever I'm going, I have some fruit with me. That's why I call it fast
Hmm.
food, I'll put a couple of apples in a bag, or right now my favorite fruit is persimmons because
Oh,
that's what persimmons are everywhere. So
yes.
I'll take like, 3 or 4 persimmons and put it in a bag and take it with me in the car because, when I'm grocery shopping or whatever I'm out doing, I don't want to have to pull in a drive-through or
Yeah.
whatever, if
Hmm.
I'm hungry or hangry, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I have
Hmm.
my fast food with me, which is my fruit, you
Yes.
know. So
Yeah.
that is another good tip. Take it with you.
Yes.
Take something with you for your snacks and stay
Hmm.
away from the sugary processed snacks, like you said,
Hmm.
because if it's in your house, it's in your mouth. You're gonna eat it.
I'm gonna eat
You're
it.
gonna eat it.
There. It's in your
You're
face.
gonna eat it.
Or you in you
Yeah.
or you just know it's there when you
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That is a very good tip. That to me that should have been number
I
one.
know.
Yeah.
It's in your
Yeah,
mouth.
don't even bring it home, Don't even bring it home. And another tip is like if you have, like all my children are adults. So, they work and if, they still live here, they'll bring their own snacks home, stuff like chips or whatever it is. And I don't want to eat that, and I don't want to be tempted to eat that. So they just keep them in their rooms
Smart.
not in the kitchen where everybody can see it. You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah, you have to have certain things like that, with your family members in the house if you want to eat healthy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Makes a big
Hmm.
difference. Makes a big difference.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Night and
Okay, and
day.
then so my third tip would be uh, for the holiday festivities and parties and things like that is BYO, bring your own. Bring your
Hmm.
own food, bring your own dish, bring a dish or two dishes to share, when you're going to a holiday party. Uh,
Hmm.
Something that you can eat, but you're just making enough of it to share with
Yep.
everybody else at the party, you know. Um, you can whatever you like to eat, you can like look up recipes to make it healthier. You
Mm-hmm.
know, a healthier version of whatever. I don't know. If you're making cookies, they have healthier versions,
Yes,
gluten-free versions or, versions with less sugar or, using different types of sugar in
exactly.
your desserts or whatever, or you can bring a large fruit platter,
Yeah.
or some kind of finger food. But there's so many things you can start researching those recipes right now, and maybe practice making them healthier, because when I was changing the diet of our family, when my son had asthma and things like that, I just looked up, better versions of what we were already eating,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
uh, maybe if it's spaghetti, I learned different ways to incorporate more vegetables in the spaghetti sauce without, the kids seeing them, because
Yeah.
kids are picky like that. You can just puree everything and put it in the spaghetti sauce, things like that. And they don't even know that they're eating carrots or whatever it is. Yeah. So you can look up things like that now, start researching,
Mm-hmm.
healthier recipes of your favorite foods, um, like um, like even with collard greens, people eat a lot of collard greens during the holidays, but the thing is to not cook them to death, to, not cook the life out of them, because
Yes.
greens are a living food, they're a living food, but we usually overcook them, you know. And there's so many different ways you can do collard greens, You can cook them, but don't cook them as long. You can cook them without all the ham hocks and things like that, things like that in there. You just have to learn to season your vegetables more, like the same way I, used to season chicken is now how I season, my vegetables and my, whatever, potatoes or whatever, that I'm eating. The seasoning is, because even when you were eating meat, when I was eating meat or chicken or whatever it was, I didn't just cook it like that. Put
With
lots
no
of seasoning
salt,
on
no
it.
nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you put lots of seasoning on it. So I do
Mm-hmm.
the same with with my other foods that I'm eating now, with my beans or whatever it is, just season it real good. So I do my collard greens the same way.
Yeah.
I just season them very well.
Mm.
Um,
And it tastes just as good.
yes, it tastes just as good.
Yeah.
And if you don't say, excuse me, if you don't say anything when you take your dishes to the parties, you know, everybody will enjoy it,
Yeah.
and not, you don't have to say anything at all. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
constantly taking, dishes to parties and potlucks and things like that. And I just put them, on the table. And a lot of times they're one of the first dishes to be gone, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've had people come and ask me for the recipe for certain things, you know, and I don't tell them that it's, this is a plant-based recipe or whatever. This is a vegan recipe. No, as long
Yeah.
as it tastes good, people will eat it.
Yeah. Sometimes when they know, then they'll be like, oh, and they won't even
Hmm.
try it. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Just try it. I mean, it's like if they don't have any allergies to anything, then we're good.
Right.
But it's like,
Right.
yeah, just give it a try. Like, you don't have to know every little thing that's in it. Heck, we
Right.
don't even know everything that's in the food that we eat. That's the regular food. So,
Right. Right.
you don't need to know everything that's in there. But yeah, no, it's like it's true because it's, the matter of just having an option there at your events where it's like I know this is clean and this won't affect me and make me feel horrible because it's like
Mhm.
not just that day you ate it, it's days later you're gonna feel the effects of
Right.
that horrible thing you ate. So I know another thing people will do is like they'll put a lot of roughage on their plate, a lot of like the salad, like try to fill your plate with more of that and then you can still have the other things on the plate, but a lot less. So it's like you'll get more filled up with that
Yes.
and you won't overeat either
Right.
with the other starchy or sugary things. So that's important. And I
Yeah.
like we talked about substituting um whatever it is, whatever the holiday dessert or food is that you love, and finding recipes. Even lately for myself, I've been searching up more recipes. My mom made this incredible banana bread the other day,
Mm.
and she made an incredible sweet potato pie just the other day too, which actually I'm going to share in the chat with everybody, because it is, I mean, the beauty of the internet, and I know there's not like a lot of good things
Uh-oh.
sometimes about the internet, but is you can search up, like right now, for me, there's some vegan recipes out there that are amazing, but they'll still have sugar, right? They'll still have the regular sugar. And I'm like, I
Hmm.
don't want sugar. I want to use like, I'll use like maple sugar or maple syrup, not like the Aunt Jemima brand maple syrup, like real maple syrup.
Real maple syrup. Yeah.
Real maple syrup. There's a big difference, guys. Big difference. Or with, there's other like there's coconut sugar, there's date sugar, there's things like
Hmm.
that. I just trying to find alternatives to it, and then also finding, some of these things are like made with like almond flour, which is
Hmm.
good too. So just Google, I mean, or whatever search engine you use. It's
Right.
there and it's amazing. I mean,
Right.
so many great recipes.
Yeah. And you can go to the library and find healthy recipe books,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
all kinds of things. There's one that I really like. It's called Sweet Potato Soul. She gives,
Potato soul.
yeah, sweet potato soul. She gives options for, different soul foods, like black eyed peas. Like I said, you don't have to, or the collard greens, you don't have to put ham hocks and all those kind of things in it to get the flavor. You want that smoky flavor. You don't need ham hocks. You can just put a couple of drops of the liquid
Liquid
smoke.
soul. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
liquid smoke, things like that. Yeah, there's tips and tricks for all kinds of things to make your food taste good without, adding too much
Yes.
junk in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah, yeah. And I remember earlier today when we were talking together, um, the host of the other show was saying about whole foods, you
Hmm.
know, try to stick to foods in its natural state as much as you can.
Hmm.
Instead of eating potato chips, just eat a baked potato, things like that. You know what I mean?
It's true. No, it's true. Yeah, because it's your body like wants what you give it. It's a creature of habit.
Yes.
And so like I'm talking earlier, it's a matter of some things won't taste that great maybe in the beginning for you, but your taste buds have to get
Mhm.
used to something different.
Yeah.
Um, and I mentioned earlier too, we need sweet, we need salt, but in its natural form and not to excess, right? Everything, especially in American culture, is to excess. We just
Right.
overeat, but we over just ingredient wise, we put too much. So it's just a matter of, like she said too, on your daily, everyday life, because there's going to be days, and again, especially during the holidays,
Hmm.
where you're going to events or people are bringing you treats at work. I know that's a big one. Like you're having people, a coworker gives you a treat or a customer gives you treats, and it's like, oh, thank you. Like I don't need this, but and the thing is, like, don't feel bad. Like you don't necessarily have to eat it. It's not like most of the time they're not there staring at you, watching you eat it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I- you feel bad throwing it away or giving it away to someone else.
Yeah. Or just leave it
Uh,
at work for
yeah, or just
others
leave it
to
at work.
enjoy.
Yeah, or maybe it's like, oh, well, I just want to try. Okay, you can have a taste. Sure. A little, and then
Hmm.
get rid of the rest. And again, don't take it home.
That's right.
Don't take it
That's
home.
what I said. Leave it at work for
Leave it at
everybody else
work.
to enjoy.
Yes, yes. And it was something cool that over the weekend, a lady said, we say cheat meal, right?
Mhm.
So she said, no, we need to rephrase it because words are powerful too. She said, have a treat meal.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was like, I like that, a treat meal. And it's not like a treat day, it's just a
No, just a
meal.
meal. Or not even a
Yeah.
meal, a taste. Sometimes it's just a taste and you're
Yes.
satisfied. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's, yeah, so you're not feeling completely deprived. And I get, especially at holiday functions with your family, they're gonna look at you like, what's your problem? Why aren't you eating anything that it's been made, and a lot of it's been made with love, right? So,
Hmm.
you can have that, but again, it's like, especially on the everyday, it's what you're, like you said, it's what you're doing on the everyday that's the most important.
Hmm.
So, okay, have that whatever. If it's, I'm thinking of like Mexican food to like pozole or tacos, or you're having tamales, especially during this time, or the soul food, the mac and cheese, the sweet potato pie. Okay, have it. And then you take your Superlax,
Hmm.
your activated charcoal, you get things moving out, you get things flowing. Um, the other one that I really like actually that we have is the pancreas reg is really good because it's helping with your sugar um,
Mm.
balancing. So that's another really good
I
product.
didn't know about that one.
Yeah, the pancreas reg, that one's really good. And it's good for helping with digestion too.
Hmm.
But yeah, just, start detoxing it out right away. You don't want that staying in your system
Right. Yes.
forever.
Yes.
That's
Or
so important.
piling more on top of it, you know?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say too, I know I mentioned a minute ago that I was gonna share that recipe for the sweet potato pie. I put it in the chat for anybody that's interested.
Okay.
Sweet potato pie. It's really good. It was really, really good. She just made it the other day. Um, and also there's something that I really like. Let's see. Oh. She gave me a note here. She did not use for the recipe, she did not use oat flour, but you can use any kind of flour for the sweet potato pie.
Hmm.
Um, we actually came across this flour, which it has been around forever, but it's called corn
Hmm.
flour. Um, and it's like lower gluten, but it's the other thing that really got my attention is it said it's never been hybridized. And
Hmm.
there's the other word, oh my goodness, it's slipping my mind and I'm trying to find it here. Bromated? Is
Oh,
that right?
yes. Bromelated. That means they're
Bromated.
not bleaching it and making it, changing the color, bleaching it and making it white. Yeah.
So, and I know there's like other wheat out there because the generic wheat that's in the store now, sadly, it's just completely stripped of anything good. And the bread in the store is just some of the worst bread for your digestive tract. It's just, there's, well, you know a lot about this because you taught me a lot, is that they add more gluten to these things to give it
Mhm.
the elasticity, and then there's the all the other things they add for shelf life, and all
Right.
that just destroys our gut health
Hmm.
and all the chemical residue from what they're doing to our wheat. So if it's not the corn, like I mentioned, if it's not that, if it's, there's oat flour, there's almond flour, there's even coconut flour, a chickpea flour. I've never tried chickpea flour. But the list goes on and on. And also some substitutes, like I mentioned, for sugar is a lot of people know about coconut flour. There's agave, there's honey. I
Hmm.
like I said, the maple syrup or maple sugar is good. Date sugar. There's actually a recipe, and this one is something we actually use year round. Is hot chocolate, and I mean, come on, right now, especially, and it gets colder, you want hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and ours consists, I don't have measurements for this, but it consists of raw cashews. I want to say it's about a half a cup of cashews. I put it in a Vitamix, fill it up to the 6 cup mark with water, and I put maybe anywhere from like a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of cacao powder,
Hmm.
and then maple syrup, and you can put vanilla in there if you want to, and then we also do coconut butter or oil, however you want to call it. And yeah, I think that's it actually. I like cinnamon, so I'll add a little cinnamon.
Yes, me too. Don't forget the cinnamon.
I love cinnamon so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you blend that up. You blend it, and then you put it in a pot and you kind of start it on low because it will overflow. But it's, oh my gosh, like
It's delicious.
Hot
I've had it
chocolate.
before.
You had it.
Personally.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I've
had
had
it.
it at your house before.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just, it's amazing. And like, I actually can't have other, I can't even drink other hot chocolate now because it's just not the same.
Yeah. And most, other chocolates are milk chocolate, and we don't want that. So, yeah, that's a perfect example of substituting things to make it more healthier. And
Yeah.
it's delicious.
And
It's
simple,
delicious.
which is
Hmm.
wonderful. We love simplicity.
Yeah.
Simplicity just makes the world go around.
Yes.
But yeah, so guys, there's so many options out there. I mean, you just have to look for it. And the thing is, it's not even hard to look for it now because of the internet. It's right there. And there's so
Yeah.
many cookbooks too. Say if you're not an internet person, there's so many amazing vegan cookbooks. I mean, the list is endless. Things have just improved over time with the taste and the quality of
Mhm.
vegan things. But yeah, just you have to be looking for it because we can make a million excuses. Well, I don't know how and I can't, but we can't have that anymore. It's there for us.
Yes, and let
Um,
me just say, I know our time is almost up, I think, but oh, God bless you. But I just wanted to say, the holidays are not only about the food. In America, everything is about food, but the holidays are not just about the food. It's about family and gatherings and things like that. So, yes, there's a lot of emphasis on the food, but if you're trying to, stay healthy during this time, you're think about that you're there for the people, you're there for the company, you're there for your family, you're there for the people, the conversation and things like that. Don't let it be, all about the food.
exactly.
So yeah, and you just do the best you can. And then I'm sure, we can come to you for the herbs.
Yes. Yes, good detox. Somebody's actually asking, said, so take the superlax charcoal and pancreas after eating a meal. You can take it before too. Honestly, I've done it where I'll take some before, I'll take some after,
Hmm.
because whatever you kind of set as your foundation to in your stomach, whatever you're digesting first, your body really absorbs that right away. And it helps to kind of get that um stimulating the colon too, and just whatever's going to enter in is like, okay, I'm going to help you to start getting it out. With charcoal, I will say with charcoal, you want to drink lots of water with charcoal. It's just the nature of charcoal. It needs a lot of water to help
Yeah.
move it and to flush it through. So that if you take it before, I would say give yourself hour, 2 hours before, I would say.
And we
Um,
should be drinking lots of water anyway, as we said earlier.
Hydrate, and especially when you're eating a lot of food that is cooked and that is dry food, we
Hmm.
really need to be hydrating right now more than
Yes.
ever.
Yes.
So that's super important. But yeah, just stay with it. And then of course, after all the holidayness, you really want to go in and start detoxing deeper, taking herbs like your maintenance, the liver bill, because that liver has been working hard,
Oh, yes.
all that we've been doing. So yeah, I will say too, right now, because it is that time of year where the weather's changing. Again, we're eating different things. Things kind of come to the surface too, at this time, especially like the mucus that's in our system. So right now, we actually are having a sale on all the herbs for mucus and the respiratory, and these in turn actually also help the immune system. So our lung health, our mullein, and our charcoal are on sale at the moment for 10% off. Um, I'm so sorry. Why did I say charcoal? I have that in my brain. Lung health, mullein, and capsicum and ginger
Ah.
are on sale right now for 10% off. This is the holiday Black Friday time, so we're gonna be having sales at this time. But yeah, those are things too. Like we're talking about mucus. Mulleine's amazing, lung health.
Mm-hmm.
Capsicum it'll get mucus going. It'll get it moving. And it'll also get it moving out of your bowels. So that's where we ultimately want it to come out. And we
That's
want to
right.
make sure that gut is staying healthy and strong, everybody. So I'm glad we were able to have Chef Kate Wharton on today. Because it's, we all need our little reminders about what we should be eating, what we should be doing. So grateful to have you, pardon me, grateful to have you here today.
Thank you so
And
much for having me
yeah.
on. Thank you so much.
Of course. And then just everybody too, if there's a friend you want to share this Q&A with, it will be going up on YouTube by the end of the week. Um, you can actually, I know before we'd have it where you would send us your email if you wanted it, but on our YouTube page, which is Common Sense Herbs, all of the Q&As are up there now for anybody to watch. So feel free to go there. I will link it here real quick. Just be sure to copy and paste save it in your phone. But yeah, comment YouTube at Common Sense Herbs. And you can even call us up too, or email us and we can send you the link for it. And of course, I can't find it at the moment. But again, our YouTube channel is Common Sense Herbs. So just look out for that. Towards the end of the week, we will have this live for anybody to watch. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you guys all have a lovely rest of your Tuesday evening, and we will be back in December. We will be sending out the email notification. We don't have the exact date yet, but we will be sending that out to you very soon. So just keep an eye out in your emails. And again, I hope you have a great, great evening, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.